when we look at the Odds Logic live odds screen for tonight, Cleveland and Atlanta, 7.5, 8s out there for the Hawks, total sitting 233.5. And when it comes to what we're looking, and of course, Amazon Prime doubleheader tonight, and this is the first of two. What's the thought process late in the season? I'm going to start with this. Over the last 3 days, favorites 18-5 against the spread. So, well over 75%, close to 80% against the number. ATS last 3 days. So if you're playing dogs right now, you need a damn good reason. And for Cleveland, I don't have a good reason. This is obviously these two teams played in Cleveland the other night, and all the quotes coming out of that game were, Donovan Mitchell, quote, I think both teams were trying to send a message in the first game. It's not the playoffs yet, but that was playoff intensity. You could feel it in the arena. It was live. That was last game. For today, officially, Jared Allen's going to be sitting. Donovan Mitchell is going to be sitting. Sam Merrill is going to be sitting. So there's still Harden, Mobley, Wade, Schroeder, Strus as in. I'm not convinced that any or all of those guys are going to play for Cleveland. I'm really not. The Cavs are a team that has a lot of quality depth. And in general, Cleveland has been a value team when some of their key players are out. But for the purposes of tonight's game, I do worry about their intensity because let's not forget, from all reports, Cleveland does not want to move up in the standings. There's no interest for the Cavs in taking on Boston in the second round. They'd much rather take on Detroit, assuming they get out of the first round. But that's the thought process now for Cleveland, not a team that is interested necessarily in moving up in the standings. And the fact that we've got these starters sitting tonight tells us that fairly clearly. For the Atlanta side of the equation, look, Hawks have played good basketball post All-Star break. They really have. And Atlanta, if they win today, they can rest starters on Sunday, which will make a difference for a team that's, a little bit gassed. From an injury standpoint, Atlanta's in great shape. The only guy who's hurt is the backup center, Jock Landale, who's not in the lineup for tonight. But it's a scenario for that Atlanta doesn't have a whole lot of success against Cleveland. That said, all they got to do is win one of these last two games. They're at Miami on Sunday. The Heat are locked in the 10 seed. They could win that, but from all indications, Atlanta's interested. Cleveland, we're not so sure. Favorites are covering in the NBA right now. I'll put it this way. The Hawks are laying this price for a reason. My quote, if I'm playing, I'm laying. Again, if I'm taking dogs the last weekend of the season, there's got to be a damn good reason. This is not that game.
All right. Okay. All right. I didn't see that angle coming from you, but that's why I stick to props. I leave the money lines and the spreads and the totals to guys like you, Teddy. Before we get into the Teddy is such a professional. Just see that, like I start talking and he just puts up the WagerTalk cup just with the logo perfectly placed so everybody can
well done.
It's such a pro.
Classy move.
Scan the QR.
Keep talking.
Code. It's so well done. It's just he's the best for a reason. Your thoughts going into this playoffs, is this going to be you have the things that have worked for you in the past, just sticking to those? Is this kind of different? How are you looking at the playoffs?
One game at a time.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not worried about what's going to happen in June. I'm not worried about what's going to happen in May. I'm going to look at the playoffs the same way I do every year. And postseason basketball, over the years, we found some real nice rhythms. Sometimes you just get in a rhythm and, man, the games jump off the page at you. I tend to have more big ticket plays, 5% plays when it comes to April, May, and June NBA. And the track record is pretty darn good in the postseason. So, but in terms of an overall prevailing philosophy, my prevailing philosophy is react to what you see, but don't overreact to what you see, but don't underreact. It's always, and the single most important factor of NBA playoff, this is what I will say that I've learned over the years. Doesn't matter how good the teams are. What matters is how healthy they stay. Teams whose stars stay healthy win series. Teams whose stars get hurt lose series. Just ask anyone who was back in the Pacers when Halliburton got hurt, or the Celtics when Tatum got hurt, or whoever else. You can go down. We can go through every series in the postseason last year and find who got hurt in the series and which team moved on. It's the same story every year. Healthy teams survive and advance. The injuries in April, May, and June matter significantly.
All right, let's move on to the Timberwolves and the Rockets. This is a Timberwolves team that is dealing with an injury to Anthony Edwards. I'm sure they're trying to protect him pretty good here. Houston, massive favorite here, minus 10.5. They coming off of a easy win last night. They clobbered the 76ers over under 222. How do you see this game?
So it's the second game on Amazon Prime tonight. Houston is must win. Minnesota is locked into the number 6 seed. Now, clearly, these are two teams that are in opposite directions down the stretch. The T-Wolves 2-5 straight up their last 7, and the 2 wins came against Dallas and Indiana, 2 lottery-bound squads. You know, this is a team that hasn't beaten an opposing playoff team since March. Minnesota's not playing well. Houston 8-0 straight up. 6-2 against the spread their last 8. They had a team meeting. They opened a road trip 0-2 and had a team meeting, and they haven't lost since. But it is the second of back-to-backs. That's worth noting. Last night, Houston led by as many as 28 in the third, and that lead was down to 7 points in the fourth quarter. All the starters had to come back in and play major minutes down the stretch. Philly went on a 16-0 run against the Rockets, and that's been a problem for Houston. They have taken their foot off the gas pedal with a lead again and again. And when you talk about, when we're talking about April, we know these teams. That's what Houston's done. And that's why they haven't been a great point spread team in any role. In the end, Amen Thompson played 42 minutes last night. Kevin Durant played 38. Now, we still have the 3, 4, and 5 seeds in question in the West. Who's going to be where? Denver's a game ahead of Houston and the Lakers, but they've got OKC and San Antonio the last 2 games. And OKC and San Antonio are locked into the 1 and 2. Maybe they'll be resting starters. Who knows? But the 3, 4, and 5 seeds very much in question. And the Rockets, in theory, trying to move up. Now, Minnesota, there's no Rudy Gobert tonight. But we have all these questionable. Anthony Edwards, questionable. Ayo Dosunmu, questionable. Bones Highland, questionable. Julius Randle, questionable. And it's hard for me to make a case for the T-Wolves if all those guys sit. McDaniels is back in the lineup, Edwards is still dealing with a knee injury. You just don't – I don't know what we're going to see from Minnesota tonight in terms of competitiveness. It's worth noting this series history. Those 6 meetings since the start of 24-25, 2 went into overtime. 1 got decided by 1 point. 2 more were decided by 6 or less. Not a whole lot of double-digit victories here. Houston hasn't beaten by Minnesota by more than 6 points since at least 2022. I didn't go back any further. This is a hard game, all right? I'm not comfortable with – taking the points with Minnesota. We don't know who's going to play. Houston's been bad in this role, and they're overvalued right here. So if we're going to play this game, it's got to be the total. And if we're going to play the total in a Rockets game right now, especially with all the questions for the T-Wolves, we got to look at the under. We saw it come through again last night. Houston does play defense. So does Minnesota. Not sure we'll see a whole lot of pace in this one. This is a crime call under the total for the Rockets and the T-Wolves. Not a game where I'm comfortable with either side. And a total, if I have to play it, it'd be under or pass. So I made one NBA bet tonight, and it jumped off the page at me. It still jumps off the page at me. It's up on my page, wt.buzz/TC. But really, don't buy plays, guys. They have a deal right now. It's a really good deal. It's called Summer Spectacular. You get every play every day. That's the NBA playoffs. The hockey guys that do NHL. You have obviously MLB, all the World Cup, all the golf, UFC, whatever else. NFL preseason, week 0 of college football. This package goes all the way through the end of August. Every play, every day. $749. It's almost $600 off. Good value right now if you're interested in partnering up long term.